101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guests. They are the co founders of Huddle for Success, and of course, the author of the book Playbook for Life. No other than Mr. Mark Bruce and Mr. Duane Gibbs.
How are you? Thank you for having us. We're excited to be on.
Welcome, both of you, and thank you so much for being part on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself, both of you?
Go ahead,
Sure.
Mark.
Sure. I'm Mark Bruce. I'm the co-founder of Huddle for Success. I am I've been an entrepreneur since I was 26 years old, and my wife and I started a retail business. We sold that, started a real estate business. We are real estate investors. We buy and sell discounted mortgage notes, and now we are trying to help other entrepreneurs and business owners and real estate investors figure out how to get to the next level. And that's the reason that Duane and I wrote our playbook for life, which is now available at Amazon.com. And if you'd like, you can get a free download of Playbook for Life from our website, which you have on the screen.
Yes, definitely, Mr. Duane.
Yes. So, as you mentioned, my name's Duane Gibbs, and I have been an entrepreneur for, I would say, close to 30 years. I got in the business of being an entrepreneur really from my dad. And what I mean by that is my dad worked a job for all his life, 9 to 5, and always instilled in my head to go work for a company 30 years plus, 40 hours a week, and everything will be okay. One day I came home from school and he was let go from his job. He was an accountant for Coca-Cola Company, and I realized everything wasn't okay. So I made the comment that the reason I was an entrepreneur was because of my dad, not because he was an entrepreneur, but didn't want to go down that road. Always believed and listened to what he said to do, but realizing as hard as he worked, I realized that no matter how hard you work, somebody's going to determine what value you are, and that you're replaceable at any time. And so I learned at a young age I didn't want to be irreplaceable. I wanted to venture out and learn as much as I possibly could, and I got into the fix and flip business. I got into the real estate world and started buying real estate on credit cards long time ago, 30 years ago. Fixed them up. And when I received money, I would pay off one credit card and then float it over to another card, and just kept floating the balances over to other cards until I was able to sell the property. And so, long line of that type of space. And then I met a gentleman that wrote a book, and it was called Hurdles and Pitfalls of Real Estate Investing. And it talked about how you can go out and learn and do every type of facet of real estate. And I met the guy. He lived in Florida. I was in Southwest Florida at the time. And he had a company, and he would travel all over the world educating people on how to invest in real estate. And so that's what I did. I worked for him for about 15 years and traveled all around the country and educating people of how to invest in real estate. And then branched off and went to work for another company. And that gentleman taught about the note business. And so how to buy real estate notes securitized by real estate, and how you can buy them at a discount. And so I was very familiar with real estate, and I was very, um, they always say real estate agents or real estate investors always grow up to be note investors. And so it was just a point to where I was looking for something different, and I was intrigued about how you can own the paper and not own the real estate with less headaches and not have to worry about tenants and toilets. And so that was, I worked for that gentleman for about 16 years, and through that process, that's where I met Mark. And you know, long story short, Mark and I didn't know it, but we met about 12 years ago, and I had a connection with Mark because his dad was my assistant principal at my high school. So I grew up in Maryland. Mark still lives in Maryland, and it's funny, small world, how things happen. And so we just remained friends, and we had a lot of commonalities in our life, even though somewhat different, very similar into entrepreneurs. And Mark had a coach, and I always had a mentor. And so even though our lives went different ways, they were very similar in a lot of ways. And with a lot of collaboration, he and I put our experience, 70 years combined, we put into this book, Playbook for Life. And so we're glad, we're thrilled that you had us on to where we can talk about this and other aspects of our life, of what we do and what we educate and help train people on, from where they are getting unstuck and progressing forward with no matter what they want to do.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom, both of you. Thank you. Let's start with the core concept. What makes a playbook for life different from just having a goals or general plan? What are the essential elements that turn a philosophy into a practical, executable playbook?
Mark, do you want to take that, or you want me to?
Sure, I'll take that one. When we wrote Playbook for Life, we wanted to try and boil down lots of information. There's all kinds of books out there. Think and Grow Rich was a book that I read first when I was in college. My dad gave it to me. It is a actual manual on how to become wealthy, how to become successful, how to achieve any goal that you want. When I read it the first time, I didn't realize that's what it was. I got the basic concepts of it, but it basically talked about a format of how you can go from your current thinking to thinking successfully. And it is our mind, it is our thought. Everything that exists in the world was first existed as a thought. And Playbook for Life is it's a organization of how you can organize in your mind what it is that you want to achieve, and the steps that you need to take to get there.
Yes. And so, as I mentioned earlier, combined basis of 70 years of experience between Mark and I in sales, mindset, leadership, personal development. It's based around sports methodology. And so we act as a coach, but we also have been a player and been part of teams before. So I mean, this isn't theory. This is actual real life experiences that Mark and I have been through, to where developing this, it has catapulted our business, and we want to be able to share this with others.
Every great playbook starts with a clear definition of winning. How do you help someone who feels lost define the winning at life truly means for them beyond just societal expectations?
One of the that is one of the hardest things that we have to do to help our clients. A lot of our clients truly don't know what it is that they want.
That's right.
We through a series of questions, we ask them questions that will help them get clear. Most people, they say they want to be successful or they want a certain amount of money. And while money does make life easier at times, it's not the be all end all. And nobody truly works for money, because it's really just paper. Money itself is just paper. It's what the money can help you achieve as far as one of the things that most of our clients truly want is time. Everybody wants their time back, time to spend with their family, time to spend doing what they want, not necessarily what their job or somebody else wants them to do.
I would say everything starts with a proper mindset. So, um, changing your thinking will definitely change the outcome of the direction that you're going.
Yep.
In sports, a playbook has plays at different scenarios. Offense, defense, 2-minute drills. What does the defensive section of our life playbook look like? And how do we prepare for inevitable setbacks or losses?
Hmm. That's a great question. I've never thought about the defensive part of life, to be honest. I've always been interested in scoring, but but,
I would say this.
uh,
Without a worthy idea, you're just playing without direction.
yeah,
Mhm,
yes,
You
and if
know,
you did,
you're
yeah,
mhm,
if you don't
go
have a
ahead.
direction, you're going to end up exactly there, nowhere.
mhm.
You need to know where you're going, or you're going to run into yourself.
I
And
would say the biggest purpose fuels persistence, um, and we challenge people to really look at where they're at and where they really want to get to. A lot of people, they're so stuck, they're so wrapped around the axle about one factor, and really at the end of the day, that may be really easy to solve, but there are other determining factors that won't let them move forward. And so that's a big problem. They become really defensive on the fact of, hey, this is really the main core problem. And after we sit down and we work with them, they really realize that that really wasn't the problem after all. It was something else. And so we really try to peel back the onion, and we do a lot of um, questionnaires and really dig deep into the direction that they want to go. And I think we can build a foundation and know where they're at and where they want to go, it helps us a lot easier of being able to help them accomplish their goals.
back to your defensive question. After a little bit of thought, I mean, most people in life get defensive and kind of almost fearful. They come up against a fear block where they want to do something, but they're a little bit of afraid, so they pull back and they do get in a defensive, let me just hold the ball and not do anything kind of situation. We walk people through how to. Bob Proctor used to call this the terror barrier, where you run across where you want to start a business or you want to make an investment, but you're just a little afraid to pull the trigger, kind of like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute for the first time. It's terrifying the first time until you get out and get to experience, floating down like a cloud. It's exhilarating. Dwayne's done it a couple times. I have not done that yet.
Mm.
Not sure that I will, uh, but but we teach people how to break through the terror barrier because it is something that happens to everybody. I've experienced it. Dwayne's experienced. I would imagine, if you think back, there've been times when, uh, I mean, example for me, the first time Dwayne kind of introduced me to the note business, and the first time that I went to buy a note, it was a mortgage note of $20,000, which isn't a small amount of money, but I had worked and put together deals buying $20 million apartment complexes, and I was terrified the first time I bought a note because I'd never done it before, and that's completely normal. We help people work through that terror and come out on the other side knowing how to do things.
Let's talk about on crafting your personal playbook. What is the first most critical play someone should write into their playbook if they're starting from scratch? Where is the highest leverage point?
I think the highest leverage point is deciding what their goal is, what it is that they truly want, and then figuring out why it is that that's what they want. A lot of times people will come up with a goal, but they won't actually know deep down in their heart why they want it. They have to want it. President John F. Kennedy asked the leading expert in rocket development back in the 1960s when he became president what it would take to get man to the moon and back safely. And Mr. von Braun said just one thing: the will to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the will and the desire to do it.
I think that's a big part of what we do. So what we do is break down big goals into small daily wins. And once people see that they're able to succeed with a goal that they've set forth, it becomes more manageable. It becomes more believable. We set measurable goals to where they can achieve different targets, whether it's mindset, whether it's money, whether it's health, whether it's relationship. And we try and create different morning routines that they can build on to where it creates confidence and focus.
Even the best playbook is useless if the team does not execute. What are your top strategies for overcoming the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it consistently?
That is one of the second lessons that we teach our clients is how to overcome the knowing doing gap.
Mm-hmm.
Most people actually do know what they should do. We have strategies that we can help people with depending on what fits their mode of working the best. What we find most of our clients like to do is to make a list every night before you go to bed. It's a simple little task, but every night before you wrap up your work, make a list of the 6 most important things that will move you closer to your goal, and prioritize them 1 through 6 and work on number 1 until it's done. Have an accountability partner that holds you accountable to completing that list.
Took the words right out of my mouth. You can't win alone. You can, if you're the only person in the room, how are you learning? How are you progressing? Um, I tell everybody, I'm in my office by myself. I have a bulldog. She's smarter than I am because I always talk to myself. So I can't get any information from her. And thank goodness for Mark and thank goodness for Zoom, because we spend endless hours on Zoom collaborating. He and I were on a mastermind call last night with people from Canada, people from Australia. And so we have a mastermind group that we collaborate all the time. We bring our ideas with our thoughts. So we're constantly evolving our business, constantly evolving our mind to where we can pass that on to our students of training. I mean, it's no different than if you were to go to Las Vegas. All the hotels have to evolve. If you don't change, then no one's really going to come to your hotel anymore. And so that's what we teach. No different than what we help someone with. There has to be accountability, there has to be collaboration, and you have to evolve.
We need to evolve for sure. So, how do you integrate the concept of a bench, the people, habits, and resources you can call upon when you're injured or tired into your own overall life strategy?
I believe one of the best ways that we help people with that is there's a process called auto-suggestion. And it's where you write down your goal, you write down the steps of your goal, and you write down your goal as if you've actually have it. And your goal, you have to truly desire your goal. You have to really want it inside your heart. And that's what gets you through the times when you feel sick, or when you feel tired, or when you run up against something that, you know, 10 people have told you no, but you realize, you know that there's somebody out there that needs it and has, and there's a yes out there you can find. It's that desire. It's that deep desire, and auto suggestion where you read your goal as if you've already achieved it every night before you go to bed, every morning before you get up. That takes it from your conscious mind where you're thinking about it, and it plants it in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind can't choose what to listen to. It accepts everything as true. It's our thinking mind, our conscious mind. That's where we get to choose whether something is positive or negative, whether we believe it or not. But anything that goes into our subconscious mind, if we tell our subconscious mind enough, it accepts everything as true. So if you are reading and speaking out loud your goal as if you've already achieved it, it all but guarantees that you will achieve your goal as long as you don't quit.
I try and look at it as developing a mindset, of adaptability. You have to be able to adapt change and be able to adapt what you want. So, if you're going into it with blinders on and feeling like, oh, this really isn't going to work. I mean, you're going
to be right.
We talk about that initially where, you have to have an open mind. That through our training, when we do our coaching, there are things that we ask people to do repeatedly over and over and over. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a product of the industry as well as Mark is. And I about 2 years ago or so, I was in a position of trying to reinvent myself. And I had all this information in my head, and I just needed something that created clarity. And I've been in the training business, like I said, for 30 years. So I know and have worked with all of top speakers and all over the country. And this has been the first thing when Mark presented to me this program of Thinking into Results by Bob Proctor. This has been the first thing that has sat me up in my seat. And because I think it really gave me, I had to go into it with an open mind, because if I didn't have an open mind, then I wasn't going to be acceptable and adapt to the change. And so all of a sudden the balloon popped, and now overflowing with information that I had stored in my brain, and I had a vision of what I wanted it to look like. But it took that one thing to where I had to adapt to a different system. And the minute that I felt like I could adapt to a different system, it became way more manageable. It felt like I got that monkey off my back, and it's like, wow, there really is something here. I've read and seen and listened to so many different presentations and podcasts and mastermind groups, but this has been the first thing that's really had me really want to be adaptable to a different play, so to say.
A different play indeed. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my Abstract Essay is already in 5th season, Abstract Poetry in 2nd season, and my Book 101 review in 5th season too, Comedy 101 in 2nd season, and my Food 101 in 5th season as well, Geography 101, Love Letters and Movie 101 review, Music 101 in 4th season, and my baby podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its 2nd season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Ultimately, is the goal to have a perfect, unbeaten season, or is it about loving the game itself? How does your playbook build in joy, play, and a celebration of the effort, not just the outcome?
There are very few perfect seasons in the game of life. There are always setbacks. Babe Ruth hit more home runs than anybody at one time, but he also struck out more than anybody at one time. Tom Hopkins once had a quote that I love, is that I never see failure as failure, but only the feedback I need to readjust my sails to achieve my goal. And I think that
I love it.
that's what you need to keep your mindset on, is don't look at failures as failure. Fail as fast as you can, because that will point you in the right direction. Like Duane said, the path to success is not a straight line. It's a zig and a zag, and you got to be ready to go where it takes you.
I would say that, as we all know, and it's nothing revolutionizing what I'm getting ready to say, but it really hits home. And success isn't luck. It is the result of consistent execution. You have to constantly work at something and execute your plan. And the minute you do, it becomes easier and easier over time.
Yep.
Yes, people, consistency is the key of ingredients to success. And thank you so much, both of you, for creating amazing books. So can you please invite the listeners to support your W book and any projects that you're doing right now?
Well, we have our Playbook for Life. You can get a free download of an ebook on our website, huddleforsuccess.com, or you can go to Amazon and pick up a paperback or Kindle version of Playbook for Life.
Mr. Duane.
Listen, we're always open to talking to anyone. So they can go to huddleforsuccess.com. They're able to go in and schedule a call with Mark and I, and it's not a sales call, it's a mindful call. It's a coaching call that we can help talk through what challenges that they're experiencing. And we call it a level up call, to where we can walk you through. And the first thing that we're going to suggest is downloading or going to purchase the Playbook for Life. Then what we do is typically take you through a questionnaire, to where the reason why we have you do the questionnaire is because we can understand more about you, so we don't have to spend a lot of time going through your questions one by one. They've already answered it. Now we can take that time when we're talking on a Zoom call or on a phone call that's more constructive, and being able to help develop a game plan for any individual.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Mark and Mr. Duane, because if you support them, for sure, more and more empowering playbook to come. So, both of you, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Daniel, thanks so much. We enjoyed it.
Yep.
Likewise. More to come, people. See you soon.